From a Manchester United perspective, of course, disappointing to drop points late on yet again in another game. So let's hear from their manager. Here he is, Erik ten Hag.
Erik, commiserations. How do you sum that up tonight?
Yes, I think in the first minute is everything in that you created great chance, but we didn't score. So we have to be more clinical on our chances we produce in the first half, and then in the attack we concede then, and we gave away a big chance, and also then in the end we gave away a goal, and that can't happen, must not happen. Lose maybe a little bit focus, also a bit unlucky because it was never a free kick where the corner is coming from. So yeah, and then you can't bounce back anymore, but that is what we have to do on Sunday.
You say that your side needs to be more clinical. Can you put your finger on why they were unable to score the chances that they had tonight?
Now we had the chances clear with Anthony Dos Santos, Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, Casemiro, all great opportunities, and one has to be in.
Luke Shaw has concerns, speaking to us just a moment ago. This is a problem not just tonight, but in other games. Would you agree? Do you have concerns around the scoring of this side in general?
No, I don't have concerns. It's about keep the focus, and when we don't lose the focus in the final and dying seconds of the game, then we take that point. And yeah, if in the end, if you can't win him because you don't finish your chances, then don't lose.
What did you make of the penalty that was given? How did you see it?
Yeah, I've seen that it's a handball, and maybe he is out of balance. Maybe he get a push from the back, but I can't see because there are so many players in, and that's up. More is my anger is about the free kick before, because it was never a free kick, and there were so many bad tackles tonight. Were not a whistle, but on that is nothing. It's a fair block, and that's a whistle.
Have you had the chance to communicate any of this to the officials? Had any feedback on those decisions?
No, yeah, we had a talk, but it's not about them. We have to finish the chances, be more clinical, and don't make such mistakes as we did in the last second.
You talk about mistakes and the focus of your side. What do you make of the way they handled the emotions in that second half? It was boiling as it went along.
Yeah, but there were also some really bad fouls, and it was so obvious and clear. Foul on Rashford, foul on Anthony in maybe in 10-15 seconds, and I don't agree with the reactions from my player, but it's also difficult then to stay in control and to stay in emotion in control, because it was so clear.
How does this result impact your hopes of a top 4 finish?
Oh, we have everything in our hands, and we have to bounce back. We have to take the lessons from tonight, and then we move on. And we go Sunday to West Ham. There we have to bounce back.
Well, there's plenty of talking points to pick out of that interview. But look, this is what we showed you before the game kicked off. Manchester United's away record against the current top 9. And obviously we filled in the Brighton result because, again, they've struggled against the team in the top 9. They've not won a game. They've lost all of them, bar the Tottenham one, which they drew, and conceded an awful lot of goals along the way, especially when you look at the result against Manchester City and against Liverpool as well. The concerns continue, Peter.
Could have been a bit nicer because Fulham is 10th in the league and United won that game away from home. It would have looked a little bit better, but it's a worry. Of course, it's a worry. Not only that United are not winning on the road, because you want to compete, you have to win on the road. But you can just look at the number of goals conceded. It's a lot of goals.
It's worrying.
And you take into context that Man United are the third best defending team in the league. And they're still in top 4. It's a very, very big worry. They've only scored 40 goals. 40 goals, it's nothing, for Haaland on his own has nearly scored 40 goals, But that's what you're up against, And it's interesting to hear Ten Hag talking here. Of course, he's very, very disappointed, but he's hammering in on the point about focus, about concentration, something that we've been talking about pre-match and at half-time as well. That lack of concentration in very, very important situations. It's a worry. You have to focus. Man United, traditionally, historically, is the team that penalizes the other teams on their lapse of concentration. it's just happened at, one too many times for Man United this season.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Ten Hag in his interview. He's always honest, isn't he? He's always
straight, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very straight. And he's critical of the team when he needs to be. I think there's no shame in losing to this Brighton team. They're a really good side, and I think obviously he makes a great point there. If you can't win it, don't lose it. And they lost it at the end with a penalty from Luke Shaw. But I think if he looks at the game back, especially in the second half, the only team looking to win that game was Brighton. And even about the penalty about Luke Shaw, yeah, maybe it's a soft foul before, but it's about a minute after that, where they concede the goal. So you got plenty of time to focus. They're professionals. But Pete makes a really good point about, the referee. He had quite a high tolerance. He let a lot of things go, and as much as that was, I think it's a soft foul. It wasn't really in context with the rest of the game. I do think Enciso does really well. He takes a touch down and he just lifts it over Luke Shaw. Look, Luke leaves an arm on him, and as a 19-year-old attacker from South America, you're going to go down there. That is just a certainty, whether it's soft or not. And the referee's right there; he's going to give it.
But you see here, this is another lapse of concentration. So they make the dummy, and on the dummy, they are all going in towards the goal. It's just stay out, wait, focus, concentrate on your job. And of course, because they're in that, it only takes one touch and it goes out for a corner kick. And of course, the corner kick led to the penalty. I just going back to the foul. I'm not saying it's not a foul.
Yeah.
Of course it is. Any referee would say, yeah, but that is a foul. The arm was up. But in context, when you think about the line that he was laying, there's a lot of things that he was letting go. And we had the incident where Anthony, he went absolutely berserk and got a yellow card and stood up to lose Dung. That was a clear foul on him. It wasn't given, because that was the line that he said, this is what we're playing to today. And that's fair enough. I think we get it here. This is, it's a foul every day of the, that's a foul. What? I mean, the linesman is only 10 yards away. I don't like the reaction. I think this is crazy. And he is a lucky boy staying on the pitch. Because that, for me, is a red card. There's no doubt about that. You cannot do that. And then he reacts like this. This is not... you can't do that as a Man United player. You have to behave yourself. This is, for me, this is revenge. You don't do that. You cannot do that in a game of football. And I think when Ten Hag, he's kind of referring to it in his interview, I think he's very, very disappointed with that. And that may be even more than the game was lost, that one of his players were reacting like that.
Yeah, I think they lost a little bit of control of the game, especially second half. I thought the first half they were the more dangerous team. They had less of the ball, but they were the more dangerous team. They looked like scoring. To be fair, Jason Steele made some big saves and kept them in the game. But Brighton had more control in the second half. We see why they have the second most possession in the Premier League. They're really good on the ball. Everybody can take the ball. They're brave, take it in every position, but they attacked as well. Mitoma was a threat all game. Thought Mac Allister played really well as well, and Enciso was probably the best player on the pitch. So it felt like they were always pushing, and it felt United looks like they just don't have the depth. They don't have the depth to, when they make changes, when they make subs, it isn't the same quality, obviously, that comes into the side, and you can feel it. And that's why Brighton got a little bit more, had more urgency and kept pushing for the winner, because they could feel it was coming.
You talked about Manchester United and their lapse in concentration and focus towards the end of games. How do you correct that? What can you do to make yourself concentrate more, I guess, as a player? Because those things could really cost them come the end of the season.
Yeah. It should be that. It should be an automatic instinct that you do. All of these players are so experienced. They know the game is not 90 minutes. It's 90 minutes plus whatever, and you just keep focusing and don't take any unnecessary risks. We've seen this throughout this season. Certain players, or not certain, but nearly all players at certain points, they've made mistakes that either had conceded chances from or goals. And we're only 1 minute into the game when Lindelof made a really bad mistake trying to pass the ball to Van Bissaka, and Mitoma got the ball. And thankfully, David De Gea, he put his face on the line there and saved it, because that could have made it a completely different game. But it's all about concentration, and I don't see why that is a problem. Why can you not concentrate? You're fit, you're capable, you're playing for Manchester United. All of these are just ingredients that you You need to play at that level. But the biggest problem for me is that Man United are not scoring. I mean, they need so many chances to score a goal. Only 40 goals this season in the Premier League and still in the top 4.
Yeah.
And you've got players like Martial in there who, sometimes you don't understand why he's in the team,
Well, we don't have long until we have to say goodbye, but just very quickly, I started the show asking about Manchester United and top 4. Will they stay in the top 4 position?
Yeah, definitely.
No
Top 4,
concerns?
1 trophy, maybe 2. It's a fantastic season. Today was a little blip.
OK. Well, thank you for your company. Thank you for yours, and a big thank you to Jules and